Welcome to BioPractice webinar on FDA UDI requirements for medical devices. The presenter for today's webinar is J. Lawrence Stevens, RAC, One Way Consultants LLC, FDA regulatory experts. During the presentation, kindly post your questions in the chat box of your GoToMeeting tool, and the speaker would address those questions during the Q&A session. And now, I would like to hand over to the speaker, J. Lawrence Stevens. Over to you, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Well, hello, everyone. I'm very pleased to be able to spend this time with you to talk about a new FDA requirement. I have had a long career dealing with FDA. I started with FDA in 1972, and as life was, it was a lot simpler as far as rules and regulations. And in 1982, I went into the private industry as a regulatory person and rose up the ranks. So then I dealt, as you do now, as a person regulated by FDA. And all those new regulations come in, always trying to stay up on them, not easy to do. And then in 2000, I went back to work for FDA, just kind of finish off my career working for FDA again, and I retired from FDA about 5 years ago and became consultant. And now I have the opportunity to share all that knowledge I've got from both sides of the fence as a regulator and as someone being regulated. And that's the perspective that I bring when I make a presentation like this. Now, prior to the advent of the internet age and webinars, if FDA issued a new requirement like unique device identifiers, a seminar would happen. BioPractice might put a seminar in the city. You would have to travel there, spend a lot of extra time and money to get to the seminar, and it was a lot more difficult. But with the advent of the internet so widely spread and the emergence of webinars, of which I'm pleased that BioPractice allows me to do a number of these webinars. I hope perhaps some of you may have participated in other webinars. But anyway, in this 1 hour, I'm able to give that same information that I would give in a seminar and give it to you sitting in your office or your company or wherever you're at viewing this. And I'd like to go ahead now and get started. Just to show that I'm a real person, since we don't have a video part of this, this is back in my days of FDA as an FDA official. At this time, I was the Director of Import Operations for FDA, and that behind me is the Port of Los Angeles. And this happened to be a press conference that the FDA was having to talk about importation and what FDA was doing, and had my picture taken, and I saved that just to prove, yes, I really was an FDA official at one time, and that I'm a real person. When we talk about the unique device identifier, obviously there's a good reason for this. It's not just another rule that you have to comply with. FDA has thought about this for many years, and in conjunction with regulators around the world, have decided there needed to be a better way of identifying medical devices. And of the many benefits of the unique device identifier is a global visibility. Once you have the UDI on your device, it will be interpreted globally. It will be viewed by your international customers and useful to your customers. Something that we don't like to talk about, medical device recalls, but it's very important that if you do have a recall, that you don't have to include products that aren't affected by the problem. And the unique device identifier will help you be very specific as far which particular product may need to be recalled and limit the recalls to just those products affected and allow the customers to identify the recalled product very quickly. So we'll improve that. Adverse event reporting. It's always difficult when you're a company and people report adverse events to you to determine just exactly what product they might be using. They may have not recorded the lot number or anything, but the fact is the UDI is an identifier, an easy identifier that can be used to identify the particular product involved. Tracking and tracing, reduce counterfeiting. Counterfeiting here occurs more in the drug area than it does in the device area, but nevertheless, it is possible that someone might try to copy your particular product and label it as yours. But the fact is the unique device identifier is one that only you will have and can